Picturebox can be supplied in a variety of configurations. The Picturebox Twin has 2 video outputs and 2 internal disk drives, allowing over 1,000 pictures to be stored on the system. They can be recalled and displayed on either of the video outputs. The Picturebox Single has 1 video output and 1 internal disk, which can store over 500 pictures. Picturebox can support a number of options. The input option allows pictures to be captured from a live video source. Cut and paste allows part of a picture to be cut out and turned into a floating graphic. Disk drives can be added to supplement the storage of the internal disks, or, using a removable magneto-optical disc, provide a means of exchange with other Picturebox and Paintbox units. Finally, a PictureNet interface can be fitted to allow Picturebox to be integrated into a network where it can exchange pictures with other Quantel products. This training tape concentrates on the operation of the standalone Picturebox. However, throughout the tape, there are references to Quantel's networking products, Shared User Bus and PictureNet. The Shared User Bus allows 2 or 3 closely related users to share and exchange pictures. In the example shown, the Picturebox Single operates independently of the Picturebox Twin by making use of its local private disk drive. The Single can be used as a stills preparation unit, while the Picturebox Twin is being used on air. Both systems have access to the shared disk, allowing them to quickly exchange last-minute graphics. Paintbox can also be part of a shared user bus to provide simultaneous graphics preparation, whilst Picturebox continues their replay. PictureNet is available for larger networking applications. It allows units to be distributed over a wide area, integrating Pictureboxes, Paintboxes, and shared user bus configurations by a central pool of disks at the PictureNet controller. The control station comprises 3 parts: the keyboard for library management, the record-recall panel for on-air sequencing of stills, and tablet and pen for cut and paste. Operation is the same whether using a single or twin output Picturebox, unless stated otherwise. After the Picturebox has been switched on and booted up, a flashing cursor will be seen on the preview monitor, and a message will appear on the panel along with a flashing V above the Take button. Control can be assigned to the panel by pressing Take. Alternatively, Clear selects the library management setup mode of operation, controlled from the keyboard. Preview displays a menu. Pressing Q for Quit exits keyboard control, and once again the panel displays a flashing V. Finally, when in the playback mode, holding Clear and pressing 9 will return control to the keyboard. Familiarize yourself with the methods of moving between panel and keyboard operation. Tablet control is described in the cut and paste section of this tape. The replay mode is controlled from the panel and allows sequences of pictures to be built up and replayed. To call up a picture, enter its number and press Take. It will momentarily wipe into the preview store and then transfer to On Air. This is the Fade mode of operation. Alternatively, a picture may be entered into preview directly using the small button beside the Next window. Then, pressing Take, transfer it to the main output. Notice that picture titles appear in the displays of the control panel corresponding to the main and preview outputs. As a number is keyed into the panel, it's stored in the temp register, allowing it to be checked before use. Any mistake can be lost by hitting Clear. This window shows the type of transition that will be made between the preview and main output. To fade the next still in a sequence, enter the duration of the fade in Fields and press Fade. Now recall the picture. The fade will be seen on the main output. A cut can be made by entering a 0 field fade. First, clear the working stack by holding down Clear and pressing Stack. This will remove any previous stack information from the panel. From this point on, the panel operations will be remembered and can be stored to make a stack. Now let's build a stack with a dissolve effect. First, enter the fade time. Once set, this value will be automatically assigned to each picture, recalled until it's changed. A stack can be built with any mixture of fade settings to make cuts and dissolves. Note that each number entered is remembered in the stack along with the appropriate pictures. If you wish to make an edit, it may be that the required entry is not currently displayed on the panel. To gain access, the stack can be moved forward by pressing Take, or backwards by holding down Clear and tapping Take. Stack entries can then be removed by holding Clear and pressing the appropriate stack button. Press Stack, followed by Record, to save the sequence to disk. The next available stack number will be automatically given. If you wish to choose your own number, then enter one after you press the Stack key. The panel will inform you if this number is already used. To recall a stack, enter its number and press Take. The first picture will be loaded onto the preview, and its title will appear in the next window of the panel. The numbers of the following pictures are shown in the stack windows. To move forward through the stack, press Take. Each press transfers the contents of Preview to the main output and recalls the next picture to the preview. Again, it's possible to reverse the stack using Clear and Take. The stack will cycle backwards on the preview without affecting the main output. The output panel display shows the type of transition that will accompany the next still. The two outputs of the Picturebox Twin can both be configured as main outputs for use with the downstream switcher. Stills can be directed to either output 1 or output 2, and their sequence remembered as part of a stack. To select this mode, enter the required output sequence and press Output. Now recall the pictures. The LED display indicates which output the next picture will go to. Notice when this stack is recalled, the first picture is not displayed on either of the video outputs. However, its title is displayed in the next window of the panel. Pressing Take recalls the picture to the output indicated. A sequence can be built to use only output 1 or just output 2. The stack buttons allow a sequence to be edited during replay. For information on any following pictures, holding down one of these buttons will display detail in the Onair and Next displays. To remove a picture from a stack, hold down Clear and press the appropriate Stack button. Notice how the next items in the stack move up to fill the gap. To add a picture, enter its number and select the Stack button corresponding to the location in which it should go. The other entries move to accommodate the change. Transitions can be edited on the panel. To change the fade time of a single entry, first select Fade, followed by the fade time, then enter this with the required Stack button. The change is confirmed in the output display. Stacks built in the output mode can be converted to the fade mode or vice versa. To convert this stack, enter a fade time, then holding down Stack, select Fade. The On-Air window confirms that the stack has been converted to a fade stack. Note that the conversion only affects entries in the stack after the point of change. To convert the stack back to the output mode, enter the output sequence, hold down Stack, and select Output. The Stack Convert technique can also be used to change the output sequence, or the fade rate of a stack. The Don't Care mode is selected by holding Fade and Output down together. The message Don't Care will be displayed in the Onair window. A stack built in the Don't Care mode has no fade or output information associated with it. Instead, the stack adopts the parameters of the last stack loaded. Notice as a Don't Care stack is built, the pictures are only displayed on the preview output. When a Don't Care stack is loaded after another stack, in this case built in the output mode, it too becomes an output stack. If the same Don't Care stack is loaded after a fade stack, it becomes a fade stack. The Don't Care feature is particularly useful in situations where the final replay mode is unknown, or where a number of stacks are to follow on from each other. Holding down Clear and pressing 0 will display the current panel setting and output mode. A very useful check to make prior to loading a Don't Care stack. The number of the last stack loaded, preset size and position information is also indicated. Picture numbers 1 through 9 are reserved for preset size and position and can be defined by the user. If a preset is recalled before a picture, then it will be recalled at that preset size and position. Entering a preset number and selecting Record View will display a cursor on preview. Selecting Size on the keyboard displays a set of yellow crosswires. Selecting Position turns the crosswires blue. The area in the middle of the crosswires represents the size and position at which a full-frame picture will be replayed. On the keyboard, the arrows allow the size and position to be changed. Fast accelerates the changes. The top left and bottom right keys can be used to distort the aspect ratio of the picture. Use Clear to return the crosswires to a 4:3 aspect ratio, and All to return them to nominal size. Once the preset has been defined, it can be recorded like a picture using numbers 2 to 9 and saved with a stack. Now let's build a stack that uses presets. First, we clear the stack. One Take recalls preset 1, which instructs the picture box to recall the following still at its original size and position. For pictures, this will be full size, whereas for cutouts, it'll be the original cut position. It's a good idea to load preset 1 at the beginning of each stack. The following pictures will be recalled with preset 2. The next few pictures with preset 6. Notice when the stack is recalled, the preset numbers are displayed in the stack windows of the panel. A single press of Take will recall the preset and the following picture in one operation. There are two secondary modes associated with the Fade function of Picturebox. Holding down Clear and pressing Fade toggles between Fade Key and Fade Video. These affect the transition of the output key signal and are important when using a keyer downstream of the Picturebox. Fade Video causes the video to dissolve between the current still on air and the next still in the sequence. In this mode, the shape of the key signal switches between the two stills halfway through the transition. When dissolving between two identical shapes, a normal crossfade will be seen. However, fading between two irregular shapes causes a jump halfway through the transition. To overcome this, select Fade Key. These two modes can be mixed throughout a stack. As a general rule, only use Fade Key for transitions involving dissolves between two irregular-shaped cutouts keyed over live video. The rest of the time, Fade Video can be used. With the Input option, pressing Freeze reveals live video on the preview output. Either the RGB, Digital A, or Digital B source can be selected by holding down Clear and pressing Freeze. Record stores any frozen image onto disk. Grab both freezes and stores frames of live video onto a temporary area of the disk, ideal for quickly capturing live action stills. Grab View allows grabbed pictures to be reviewed. To keep a grabbed image, press Record. The grab buffer can hold up to 100 pictures, although this may vary if the disk is full. To clear the buffer, hold down Clear and press Grab. To remove field flicker from a picture, hold down Clear and press Grab View. Preceding this key sequence with the number 1 or 2 will define the field dominance for the clean-up operation. Record View allows library images to be reviewed on the preview output. Enter a start number and use View to increment to the next picture number. Notice the on-air output is unaffected by this operation. Pictures can be given numbers between 10 and 9,999. To erase a picture using the panel, enter the picture number, hold down Clear and press Record. The picture will be permanently erased from the disk. Inside a Picturebox Twin, there's a local and shared disk, and LR is used to distinguish between them. Pictures stored on the local disk are private to the Picturebox, whilst those stored on the other disk are public and are accessible by other systems connected via the shared user bus. Holding down Clear and selecting LR sets the default mode of the panel to either local, indicated by a flashing dot, or shared, indicated by a flashing dash. A word of warning. Pictures stored on the shared disks can be given the same number as those stored locally. It's therefore important to distinguish between the local and shared disks of the system. Normally, pictures will be recalled from the local disk. To recall an occasional picture from a shared disk, press LR and enter the picture number. Notice there are now 2 pictures in the stack with the same number. The dash indicates one is from the shared disk, the other has no dash, indicating it's from the local disk. To avoid confusion, you may choose to use a different number range between local and shared. Notice that the temporary window returns to a flashing dot, indicating a return to the default mode. Pictures stored on removable disks can be given numbers in the range 9,000 to 9,999 for pictures. Their stacks are numbered 900 to 999. All items to be used in the panel must be numbered. The magneto-optical drive is connected to the shared user bus, so remember to select the shared mode before attempting operations. A dash followed by a number indicates a picture from a shared disk. A picture number on its own indicates a local picture. S1 indicates local stack number 1. Dash S20 indicates the stack is from the shared disk. P2 indicates preset number 2 will be recalled with the next picture. Wipe indicates picture 0 has been loaded into the stack. This is a black picture which also wipes the key signal to 0. More indicates there are more pictures to come in the current stack after the blank windows. A row of pluses indicate that another stack will follow, and a row of dashes indicate the end of a stack. The library management system provides a powerful mechanism for locating and managing the stills stored on Picturebox. It's controlled from the keyboard in conjunction with head-up displays on the preview monitor in the setup mode. The head-up display functions are selected by typing their first letter, for example, S for search. The Tab key is used to move between the different fields of the search card. Holding Ctrl or Shift and pressing Tab will reverse the cursor through the search card. To action the search, press Return. Keywords can be entered in the Name field and used to find matches in any of the titles of the pictures stored on the system. For example, Travel finds any entry on the system with the word Travel anywhere in the title. A string of keywords can be used. For example, we can search for Travel, Venice. This finds any pictures with both of these keywords in the title. Searching for pictures with Japan and France will find any pictures with either keyword in the title. It's not necessary to enter the full word. Notice that the titles found depend also on the setting of any other fields in the search card, such as Date or Owner. The up and down arrows on the keyboard can be used to store strings of text for future recall. The Clear key removes the current search string from the name field. Selecting Types lists the available entry types. Note that mallets refer to paintbox palettes. To select a type, enter its first letter, for example, C for cutout. To remove it from the list, enter the first letter again. Disk lists the disks available to the system. To add a disk, enter its number. To remove it, enter the number again. Pictures can be found by owner or by date. Holding down Ctrl and T will find pictures stored today. Ctrl and Y will find pictures stored yesterday. You can also search for pictures stored between a range of dates, before a date or after a date. To search by number, use the Number field. To find an individual number, enter the number twice. To find pictures of a particular number and above, enter the lower number. To find pictures between a range of numbers, enter the range. The keyword search can also help find pictures by their category. Category can be used as a second title line or to provide a more structured library. Category words such as sport, news and graphics could help define the library structure. After a search has been made, the current position in the buffer and the disk being searched is displayed at the top of the screen. The arrow indicates there are more pictures further down the screen. Use Page Down to access them. Notice the information at the top of the display has been updated. Page Up can be used to move up through previous pages. At the top or bottom of the buffer, the message No More will appear in the menu. As well as the title and type of entry, its number is also displayed. P1 to P12 cross-reference to the row of keys at the top of the keyboard and identify each entry for other library management functions. To view picture P9, press P9 on the keyboard. The picture will be displayed at full size. Press Titles to return to the display. Browse displays a montage of the pictures corresponding to the titles. The picture's number and ident, P1 to P12, are also displayed on the browse. Page Down and Page Up move through the images for final selection. Toggling between Titles and Browse allows the titles and pictures to be compared. A file card is available for each stored picture, showing further information in a convenient display. page down and page up can be used to move through the buffer. Picturebox is equipped with a powerful keep and lose facility, ideal for sorting images in a large library. Let's search for pictures with the keyword travel. 48 pictures are found. We're only interested in those of the USA. Selecting Keep and the keyword USA loses pictures without USA in their titles. An up-to-date picture of the Manhattan skyline is required. Selecting Lose and defining in this case a date refines the buffer further. We can now easily make a final choice from the 3 remaining pictures. Note that Recall can be used to step back through levels of Keep and Lose. Stacks can also be built using the keyboard. From the title or browse displays, entries can be selected using Tag and the corresponding P number. Page down and page up can be used to tag other entries in the buffer. Tagged entries are stored in a separate buffer, allowing pictures found from different searches to be entered into the stack. Build Stack displays the list of tagged entries. The yellow cursor indicates the current position. The Build Stack menu makes use of the keys on the right-hand side of the keyboard. The up-down arrows move the cursor through the stack. Browse displays a miniature of the picture highlighted by the cursor, useful for checking that titles and pictures match prior to saving the stack. To edit the running order, use Select and the up-down arrows to choose the entries. Remove will remove them from the stack. Insert reinserts the entries at the point defined by the cursor. Save records the stack to disk. A stack can be built using Build Stack in the same way as described for the panel. For example, the stack can be cleared by holding down Clear and pressing Stack. Stacks can be built in either the Output or Fade modes and saved to either the local or shared disk, just like using the panel. Now let's build a stack. First, enter a fade rate by selecting the time followed by Fade. Select the shared disk by holding Clear and selecting Remote. Now enter the picture numbers. A sequence of pictures can be entered using the To box. Simply key in the number range and select Enter. Preset Load allows preset size and positions from another stack to be used in the current stack. First, enter the preset numbers. Now enter the required stack number, followed by Preset Load. Note that the Browse display shows a yellow box to indicate the preset size and position in which the following picture will be replayed. Finally, a previously recorded stack can be recalled in the Build Stack menu and edited as before. To erase pictures, select E. Any combination of the visible 12 pictures can be selected by the P keys. All selects all 12. To erase everything that's been found in the search, that is, the whole buffer, hold down Shift and press All. The message Return for Everything appears in the blue box. In Browse, items selected for erasure are shown by a pink cross. Pressing Return will erase these. To abort the process, press Escape. An individual item can be removed from the list by selecting it a second time. Once pictures are erased, they are removed permanently from the disk. Before a picture can be used by the panel, it must have a number. To do this, select Number and enter a start number. Use the P keys to assign the number to a still. If that number is already in use, then Picturebox will automatically assign the next one available. The Add function can be selected on or off when numbering. It's therefore important to determine the use of a picture or cutout before numbering it. Cutouts numbered with the Add box on will automatically add to the picture when they are recalled by the panel. This technique is useful for building up a montage on the screen. Pictures and cutouts numbered with the Add box off will automatically replace the previous picture when they are recalled from the panel. Entering 0 and selecting a P number clears the number from the picture. The numbers can then be used again. Selecting Print will output the list of titles to a printer. Normal will print the titles as they appear in the buffer, as one-line entries. The alphabetical, unsorted, date and numerical sort modes can be selected using the up and down arrows on the keyboard. Selecting the full option prints the additional information found in the file card, such as the entry type, disk, owner, date stored and categories, as well as, of course, the title. A print can be made for individual entries, all visible entries, or everything currently in the buffer. The Modify command can be used to change the name, owner, category and descriptive text fields. Selecting Modify, followed by one of the P keys, will reveal the file card for that image. The Tab key can be used to move to the field to be edited. Text editing facilities are available to help with the editing process. Holding Ctrl and pressing B takes you to the beginning of a line of text. Ctrl and E takes you to the end. Ctrl and W allows you to skip between words. The left and right arrows move the cursor between letters and up and down between lines. Ctrl and C deletes everything after the cursor. A text string is stored using Ctrl and S. The stored text can be recalled by pressing Ctrl and R. These editing facilities can also be used with the title, owner and category fields, and also when entering information in the search card. Once the file card has been modified, press Return to store away the new information. The On-Air command of the Picturebox Twin allows a picture to be transferred on-air from the keyboard. The picture does not have to have a number and can exist on any drive available to the system, for example, a PictureNet disk. Select On-Air followed by the P number of the image required. It will instantly wipe into the preview and then cut to the On-Air output. Notice that the picture is put to air without the Add function. On-Air is particularly useful in situations where time is too short to follow the normal numbering procedure. Picturebox is equipped with an input option, can access a live video source from the input menu. Select I for input and then write-enable the drive you want to work with by selecting Writable Disks. The drive is selected by entering its number. Exit this menu with Escape or Return. The Writable Disks menu only affects record operations from the keyboard. It does not apply to the control panel. The video source can be selected by entering A for analog or D for digital. There are two digital video inputs on Picturebox, A and B. With A selected, the digital A socket will be used as the system's video source, and the B socket as its key. The swap box changes these inputs around so that B becomes video and A becomes key. L allows the live video to be monitored. The freeze, grab and record facilities are the same as those found on the control panel. The clean-up mode can be used to remove field flicker from a picture. Preceding cleanup with the number 1 or 2 will determine the dominant field that will be used to clean up the image. Selecting Live and Key Live allows both the video and the key signal to be recorded together. This will form a cutout on the system. When using a digital key signal, Expand Key increases the internal number range from the normal CCIR limits to the full 8-bit resolution for enhanced stencil operation. Selecting Key Live on its own displays the incoming key signal as a stencil. Recording this onto the system allows it to be used with a picture to make a cutout. A default title can be assigned to each picture recorded. To set this up, select Title and enter the required description. The cut and paste option is controlled from the tablet and pen. Placing the pen near to the tablet surface makes a cursor appear. Keeping the pen a millimetre or so above the surface and moving from the centre picture area to the side, to the left or right, switches on the menu. To enter cut and paste operation, using the pen, tap down on the Quit box shown in the menu on the preview display. A number of options will appear on the left-hand side of the menu. Pressing Library will return control to the keyboard, and Panel returns to the panel. Functions can be selected by simply pressing the required box. Pink boxes show what is selected. The stencil is used as a masking medium to define areas of pictures for cutting out. We can use Draw Stencil to apply the stencil medium over the picture. By default, it's shown in red, but this may be changed to any colour that you require. Colours may be picked from the palette in the Cutout menu. Remove, Wipe Sten will clear the stencil. A range of brush sizes are available, and they can be either hard or soft-edged. To use the brushes, the menu must be swiped off. The stencil may eventually become the key signal of the floating graphic. A soft-edged brush can therefore give a useful blend between the foreground and background of the resulting keyed image. Stencil can also be removed, very useful for correcting any errors. Or added again. We can use the stencil the other way round. Reverse Sten changes it from positive to negative. Zoom is available to help with the detailed work. Tapping the up arrow allows us to zoom in, the down arrow to zoom out. Press and hold the arrow to move in or out quickly. At maximum zoom, 6 pixels fill the screen. A white rectangle represents the whole of the picture. The grey area is the part we're actually seeing. We can move around a big picture by pressing on the rectangle and moving the pen, or by pressing and moving the pen on the picture itself. Be careful not to place the pen in the menu area. Detailed application of stencil can be carried out on the zoomed picture. Finally, when the stencil is finished, entering the Paste Up menu, we can cut Picture and Stencil to create our cutout. Returning to the stencil menu, on the left we have our electronic geometry set. Remember that the brush size and style will affect the operation of graphics, so select what is required. Geometric functions can be drawn with or without the menu displayed. Remember to press the stick box when the menu is up to confirm the graphics function. Now lines can be drawn by tapping the pen to establish one end, moving the pen away, and tapping again to define the other end. To adjust the first point, simply lift the pen out of proximity and start again. Now let's look at rectangles. Initially they'll be open and drawn in the thickness and type of brush selected. The first tap fixes one corner, and the pen then defines the position of the opposite corner, which is confirmed by another tap. A rectangle is then complete. Again, the operation can be abandoned by lifting the pen out of proximity. For a solid stencil area, solid must be selected. Using square, the first tap defines the center and the second the edge. Squares or rectangles can be graduated from the color on the pen to the color in the grad box. Note that only luminance values are used. The rectangle is then defined as before. The direction of graduation can be defined by the arrow boxes. Circles and ellipses are also available and work in a similar way. The fill function can be used to flood an area with stencil. There are facilities to cut out a portion or the whole of a picture and stick it onto a background or make a floating graphic. Using this picture and selecting Cut, Picture, All, we'll cut out the whole picture. After swiping off and then tapping the pen in the picture area, we see that the cutout picture can be positioned by moving the pen around. Swiping off after Cut, Picture allows us to define an area to cut out. On tapping the pen down to confirm the second corner, the boxed area is cut out, and once again it will appear as if on the end of the pen. With the cutout sized and positioned, a number of styles, including drop shadow, are available with stick. To remove the existing picture, use Wipe Pick. To select a color from the cutout menu, place the cursor over the required color and tap it with the pen. You'll see that the box on the right will change to that color. To deposit a color in one of the small white boxes, place the cursor over the box and press down. This will have the action of depositing the color. As well as the predefined colors that come as standard with Picturebox, palettes can also be brought in from a paint box, either via removable media or across the network. Remember that the color that is currently on the brush, that is, the color in this box on the right, as well as having uses with styles, is also relevant for the graduated rectangles facility, luminance value only. Clearing the background picture, we can explore some of the styles with which the cutout can be displayed. For example, flip and tumble, which can be used together. Rotate 90 will rotate the cutout through 90 degrees. Original will revert the cutout to the size and position from which it was originally cut. To move the cutout, you can either swipe off to get rid of the menu, move the cutout around the screen with the movement of the pen, or you can use the statistics. As usual with Picturebox, there's often more than one way of doing something. Another way to move the cutout is to activate the box and then slide the pen horizontally in the screen area. Here we're directly changing the value of the X parameter, and the results can be seen immediately. Notice too that the cutout becomes transparent, useful for positioning accurately over a background. Angle controls rotation. As before, the effect is seen immediately as the pen is slid to alter the numbers. When the pen is lifted, the cutout is swiftly rendered in full resolution. The size too can be changed. The absolute limit on expansion is 999%. The aspect ratio of a cutout can be changed by separate alteration of the X or Y size values, so the images can be stretched or compressed. That concludes a quick review of some of the facilities for cutout. Now we're ready to cut the logo out. Having returned to cutout, proceed to cut picture and stencil together by describing the wanted area with the box cursor. Note that this limits the amount of data stored for the cutout, so making it faster to handle, as well as occupying less space on the disk. Now we see only the parts of the picture revealed through the stencil. Now we can review the different styles available for sticking down the cutout. Of course, all the size, position and rotation options are still there for use as required. With outline, the edges of the cutout are stuck using the colour on the pen. Without any style selected, we just get the cutout. Next, Surround places a border of the colour in the surround box around the cutout. Notice that we always get a duplicate each time the cutout is stuck. There are several options with Solid, which produces an extruded version of the cutout. First, the direction of the extrusion can be selected. When we hit the arrow, an array of choices is presented on the right. The colour of the solid must be entered into the box, together with the length. Now, Stick. Pick gives another method for producing a solid. This time the colour is defined by the edge of the cutout itself, leading to some spectacular effects. To complete this, we just need to switch Solid off and Stick again. Here we can create a cast or drop shadow. The distance from the object is set here. The direction of light source, the density and colour of the shadow can all be defined as well. Here again is a much dimmer shadow in a new direction with a longer distance from the object. Emboss will create a highlight in the shadow from the shape of the cutout. By reversing the direction of light source, we can give the illusion of embossing into the screen. Once the cutout, style and replay position has been defined, the cutout can be saved for replay from the panel. To do this, use the Save Cutout box in the bottom of the menu. Enter a start number using the number box. If this number is already in use, then the system will automatically select the next available. A word of warning: the cutout will be saved onto the disk that was previously Write-enabled in the Writable Disks menu. It's important to know this when you recall the picture from the panel. Cutouts can be saved with or without the Add characteristic. Any cutout saved with the Add box on will add to the background of the previous still when it's recalled from the panel, whereas those saved with the Add box off will replace the previous still. Note this is the same facility as Add in the number menu of Library Management. Note by pressing the blue box on the left of the menu, which says Picturebox supplied by Quantel, the menu will display the current version of software that's operating and the system's serial number. This information is particularly useful when contacting your local Quantel office about any query regarding operation or service. Grids are used to divide the screen into equal parts and are particularly useful when drawing geometric functions, or when accurately or equally spacing the position of cutouts according to a predefined layout. Grids are defined in the Draw Stencil menu. To define a grid, tap down with the pen to establish a set of yellow cross wires. Move the pen to a second position and tap down again. The cross wires turn blue and you've defined a single grid. To change the size of the grid, move the cursor into proximity of the cross wire, that is, when it turns yellow. Press with the pen and drag the line to the desired position. This can be done with the horizontal line, or vertical line, or when the cursor is at the intersection, both together. A grid can be further subdivided. This can be done by entering numbers into the green boxes from the number pad on the right. Again, this can be done horizontally or vertically. Changing the size of the grid will not affect this subdivision. Let's use the grid function to position some cutouts. First of all, we decide on a grid size. And now, specify a subdivision of this grid. To activate the grid and use it to position cutouts, turn on the Use and Grid boxes. From now on, all geometric functions and cutout positions will be governed by this grid. In the Cutout menu, we have a cutout on the end of the pen. When the menu is swiped off, the cutout can only be moved to the intersecting points of this grid. By switching off the H or V boxes in the Draw Stencil menu, we can liberate either the horizontal or vertical movement of the cutout. At present, it's the centre of the point of the cutout which locks to the grid intersections. Again, in the Draw Stencil menu, this can be altered. By switching on the L, R, T or B boxes, which refer to the left, right, top or bottom of the cutout, we can change the locking point of the cutout. Here, for example, we may choose the left top point of the cutout. And so when back in the Cutout menu, it's this point which locks to the grid intersections. Let's see how we can use a grid to equally space a number of copies of this cutout on the screen. We'll use the centre point of the cutout, and so we'll switch off any of the L, R, T or B boxes in the Draw Stencil menu. Now, in the Cutout menu, position the cutout using the grid and press Stick to make this a permanent part of the picture. The next cutout can be positioned automatically to an adjacent locking point, and the layout can be quickly assembled. Now let's look at some other functions of the grid. Our grid is currently subdivided into 6 by 6 units. Pressing Whole divides the total picture area into this number of units. Square ensures that a defined grid is equal horizontally and vertically. Here we only have one subdivided grid on the screen. Repeat fills the screen area with this grid arrangement. So far, we've only dealt with equally spaced grids. However, irregular tabular grids may be specified using the Tab box. Having defined a new grid, select Tab. Now, more cross wires may be added on the vertical axis using Insert. or likewise on the horizontal. To remove these tab points, first select Delete, then H or V, depending on which set you wish to remove. Finally, turn Tab off. Selecting Grid only, leaving Use switched off, allows the grid to be displayed but not active, and is useful when positioning cutouts visually on the screen. Sometimes it may well be useful to change the colour of the grid display. To do this, pick up a colour from the palette and deposit it into the grid colour box. This will change the grid to the current colour on the brush. It's also possible to draw a grid into the stencil. First, select the brush size and type required, and then press Draw Grid to see the grid drawn in the stencil. You may wish to build up a montage that will grow on the screen. To do this, use the same procedure as before, but each time you reposition the cutout, press the Save Cutout box. Be sure the Add box is on. A stack of these images can then be built up using the panel and used to pop graphics up onto the screen in time with the presenter. When building a graph or something of this nature, it's useful to make use of the stick command so that you have a visual reference of where the last element was. And here's the final result being replayed from the panel. Returning to the Library Management menu, the General command is used for General System Management. This is normally only accessed by the engineering staff. Within this part of the system, disks can be initialized, engineering adjustments made, and so on. Full details of this part of the system, along with details of other functions not described in the training tape, can be found in the Operator's Reference Manual.